Yo, Big C in the house. You know the name. Fin Posse Podcast. Changing the game. Fins up high. Feel the aqua and orange. Miami heat blazing. We scorching the floor. You know the tour. We stacking the saga. Legacy deep, call it football nirvana. Big C, break it down, got the stats in his veins. Play-by-play knowledge like he's calling the chains. Fins flying on the field, opponents feel the blast. Tyreek cheetah speed, leaving DBs in the past. Waddle with the wiggle, defense with the clamp. Aqua drip so clean, whole squash the champ. Tune in, Big C, got the mic on lock. Fin Posse Podcast, it's the cream of the crop. Breaking news, hot takes, repping the block. For the Dolphin faithful, it's the one-stop shop. Fin Posse. We the voice of the fans. Miami stand tall, got the world in our hands. Best podcast, yo, ain't no debate. Big C, big vibes, setting it straight. Defense smash, call it Aqua Tsunami. X locking routes like a South Beach Armani. O-line holding strong, trenches like a fortress. Big C dissected, no stack goes dormant.
Try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain. Pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to it.
What up, Fin fans? Welcome to another episode of the Fin Posse Podcast. I'm your host, Big C, and this is brought to you by Game Changers Media. Well, fellas, it is another Dolphin day, another Dolphin dilemma, another day to sleep on it, another day to think about the performance of this football team on Sunday, which I think we can all agree upon was absolutely atrocious, absolutely. I just don't have words for the performance that we put on the field, the product that we put on the field on Sunday. The Miami Dolphins were absolutely atrocious, and it's not fair to this fan base. It's not fair. It is not fair. Another day closer to death. Yeah, I mean, is that the comment you want to hear from your head coach? And for all of you that missed it, oh, today's a great day. Why? Why is it a great day? Because we're another day closer to death. Like, come on. I'm so fed up with Mike McDaniel. It's beyond. It's beyond giving this guy the benefit of the doubt anymore. The amount of criticism that we're receiving, we are the laughing stoat. We are the laughing. Everybody is clowning on the Miami Dolphins. Everybody. And it's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. There is too much talent on this football team for us to be in the position we're in. There's too much talent on this football team to get beat by the Indianapolis Colts 33-8. Too much. And Mike McDaniel is over his head. I feel like he's lost this team. Good morning, Timothy, Travis, Miller, good morning. Dolphin Don, good morning. Cap, good morning. Stainless, good morning. Cosa Nostra, good morning. Bonnie, good morning. Edward, good morning. Talk us off the ledge, Big C. Edward, I'd love to. Octane, what's up? What's up? Our front seven that we had so much high hopes for. With it, one sack, letting Daniel Jones have all day in that pocket to just dissect us. we're lost. We're lost. This franchise is lost. And I think, I honestly believe that changes need to happen now. And I know some are going to say that's an overreaction. It's one game. People are going to say it's one game. But it's clear by Mike McDaniel pushing the blame on other people. It's clear by his demeanor. I'm so sick and tired of listening to his press conferences where he's in there trying to be the smartest guy in the room. You gotta have a translator sitting next to you to distinguish what the guy's saying. Sean, what's good, brother? What's good? I'm so sick of that. I'm so sick of trying to have to dissect what the guy's saying, even when it's the simple of questions. And yeah, can we please hit that like button? I mean, I don't sit there and harp on it a bunch, but ever since I deleted most of my videos, I'm not getting to that algorithm like I used to. So if you guys could hit that like button, help me out, I greatly appreciate it. But what needs to be done? What needs to be done? In your opinion, if you had one thing that you could do right now, if you were in charge of the Miami Dolphins, what would it be? And I to be honest, people are saying head coach change. And I think it starts there. I think it starts there. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm not giving Anthony Weaver a pass whatsoever. That defense was atrocious. That defense was atrocious. This was not just Tua Tagovailoa. Tua deserves all the criticism in the world. He really does. But this was not just a Tua. This was not just Tua playing bad. This was not just a Tua problem. This team as a whole was absolutely horrible. And never in a thousand years with this much talent on this football team did I think that we'd come out with a performance like that. Absolutely. This fan base deserves so much better. It deserves so much better. Let me see if I can pull up the best and the worst of the PFF grades for this past weekend. Let's see. 5 worst grades on offense. Alec Ingold, 47.5. If you're gonna have a fullback in there, you wanna at least have him at a high grade. You know what I mean? You might as well have an extra tight end or extra. You know what I mean? Alec Ingold's not open up any holes. He's, you know what I mean? There was one play that we went to him as the main option on a passing route, which I'm sure Alec Ingold's hands aren't the greatest hands. He's a all right fullback, but come on, we're still running fullback. Not very many teams have fullbacks anymore. Get him out of there. I understand he's a team leader, a great guy, but get him out of there. Jonah, rookie, he had some good plays, but overall a poor rating, 51.7, but he's a rookie. Keon Smith, this is where it really gets bad. Keon Smith, 52. We're probably going to have Keon Smith in the starting lineup for the foreseeable future. We'll get into injuries here in a moment, but Keon Smith, get used to more of that. Tua Tagovailoa, 52.5%. Terrible. That is not a $50 million a year quarterback. That is unacceptable. And then Tanner Conner, 53.5. Again, he looks phenomenal in his underwear when he's playing in the off season, but when it comes to game time, he had one good catch on 3rd down, which I'm surprised he even came down with the catch. That's your worst ranked in PFF grades for offense. Your top offensive graded players. Patrick Paul had a good game, a really good game, 84.9. he was your highest ranked player by a long. You have Aaron Brewer at center. Aaron Brewer had a couple hiccups, but overall played really good. Running back Devon Achane, 64.6. They just didn't give him enough opportunities. He's got to have the ball in his hand more. He was responsible for the one touchdown, which he put in a fantastic effort to even get the ball in the end zone. Estridge, 62.4. Nick Westbrook-Akine, 60.9. Again, Estridge looked phenomenal on kickoff returns, punt returns. Let's not say punt returns because we didn't have the Indianapolis Colts punt. Let's see. Best defensive grades, you got Dodson at 76.3. He had an all right game. Dante Trader Jr., a rookie, 74.8. Fitzpatrick, 65.5. Listen, Fitzpatrick, I thought had an up and down game. There was a couple plays that I was like, man, what's Fitzpatrick doing on this play? You got Judon at 61.8. He had that big mistake on special teams. And then defensive tackle Jordan Phillips later in the game, he was stopping the run, 60.7. And the worst defensive grades, Ashton Davis, 28.1. Absolutely terrible. Chop Robinson, I had high hopes coming into the season for Chop. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you have top hopes for Chop Robinson? He had a pretty good second half of the season last year. He came back into this year. You were hearing great things out of camp about Chop, and he comes out and delivers a 37.8. Kenneth Grant, 39.5. The real surprise on here is Zach Sealer. Zach Sealer had a horrible game, 41.8. And then corner Jason Marshall Jr., 42.6. But yet we released Mike Hilton. We were good enough. We felt good enough at our corner position that we release a pretty decent nickel corner. I didn't know we were good enough at the cornerback position to go out and release a defensive back that at least has some experience. At least has some experience. This team was terrible. Absolutely terrible. This Miami Dolphins team needs things to change now because it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. Unfortunately, it's going to get worse. And I could really see Mike McDaniel being out of here fairly quickly. Fairly quickly. We have 3 divisional games coming up. I think it could happen as early as next Monday. If this team comes out and performs at home against the Indianapolis Colts like they did against Indy, Mike McDaniel will be gone Monday. And then Anthony Weaver will be put in charge, and I don't know if it gets even any better than that. I don't know if it gets any better this year. It should, because we have too much talent. There's too much talent on this football team to be as bad as we are. There's too much talent. Up and down the board. And we know Tua has these games. We know Tua has these games. So I wouldn't be surprised if Tua has a snapback game. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised if Tua came out and had 3 touchdowns, 270 yards passing this week. I wouldn't be surprised by that. I've listened to Big O a little bit here and there. Miami history dictates that Tua will have a career game next Sunday and prolong this for 2 more years. Stainless J, you're not wrong. I mean, if you look back at Tua Tagovailoa, he has games like this, complete stinkers, and then typically he does come out and perform well the next week, which makes you have this time, which gives some people And I'm not gonna lie, I'm one of them people. It gives you this false sense of hope. I'm one of those people that have seen the great games from Tua, and you're like, wow, give the guy a chance. Keep giving him a chance. Keep giving him a chance. And next thing you know, we're still end up at the same place where we came from. I see a team without leadership or answers. The X and O's are lost on them. No chess game skills, literally no improvement whatsoever in several years. There's no fight. There's no fight. Costa Nostra, go. Wow, what's up? But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Tua come out and have 3 touchdowns, and he prolongs the inevitable. I would not be surprised if he comes out and has a good game and prolongs the inevitable. And the inevitable is that we need to tear down this team. Mike McDaniel will eventually be fired because we have a tough stretch of games at the end of the season that there's no chance that we win. There's no chance that we win those games. This team will not be able to stay together long enough. Tyreek is literally a ticking time bomb. Big O has said on the show that the earliest McDandy will be fired is after the Buffalo game. Cosa Nostra, if the Dolphins come out and perform like they did week 2, I think he's fired next week. I think he'll be fired next week. What up, Shake Money? What up? How you doing, brother? If they perform that way, if the Colts beat us in our house 30-10, he's out of here. He's out of here. Because he's already going to know what's going to happen in Buffalo. He's going to know. You got to make that change immediately. And Chris Greer already looking for a scapegoat. You know what I mean? Chris Greer, he's like a cockroach. He's trying to survive it no matter what. The guy's trying to survive no matter what. So Chris Greer already in Stephen Ross's head, listen, I think he's losing it. And that Indy game could have things could have been so different in the Indy game if Tua would have had one pass. Because I really think Tua gets in his own head. I really do. I think if Tua would have completed one pass, Tua would have had a completely different game. I'm going to show you this one pass that could have perhaps changed this game for the Miami Dolphins Sunday. And it's right here. It's the ball he sailed. The first ball he sailed. The first ball he sailed, the interception, the pass to Tyreek. If you look at the top right hand of the screen, that's Tyreek coming out of the break. The ball's it's in the top middle of the screen. He has Tyreek here. He has Tyreek here for a big game. What's Tua at the 45 of the Colts side of the ball? The ball's the completed pass be right about 20, 25. If Tua doesn't sail this ball, now the right dot on the side of the right hand of the screen, that's where the ball ends up going. But look out in front of Tyreek. If he throws this ball correctly and on time to Tyreek, look at the space Tyreek has. That's a touchdown. Look at that open path to the end zone. That's a touchdown. We would have went up 7-3 there. And I think this game would have been completely different. That one pass that he airmailed it. I hope so, because making Tua panic when the first read not there is Mike's fault. You know, it's Mike's fault for complicating this offense too much. We're still getting delay of games because the play call is so long. Like, give me a break. Abandoning the run. Like, what Mike McDaniel if Mike McDaniel's not fired, give up the play calling duties immediately. Give up the play calling duties. But he won't. Because McGenius thinks he's so smart. He sits there in his press conferences and hums and haws and tries to come up with these fancy words to distract us from the overall garbage that comes out of his mouth. He holds nobody accountable for shit. Cosa Nostra, I think it's both. McDaniel's going to have to pull some rabbits out of that hat. Well, I don't see it neither. At this point. You know, I had high hopes. I tried to be positive Patty for this Miami Dolphins season. I really did. What up, Joe? I really tried to be positive Patty for this upcoming season, but the proof is in the pudding. Obviously, you know, you don't know what you're getting these first weeks of the season. You don't know what you're getting at first. Now, as a fan of the Miami Dolphins, you know, I knew there was holes on this football team, but I'm going to try to be positive. I'm going to try to see the brighter side of things. But now that I've seen the product, I can't ignore it, and I refuse to ignore it. And I'm not going to sit here and be positive about the current situations of this football team just to be positive. Michael Lombardo, don't be so sure about that. Don't be so sure that the Miami Dolphins don't go out and beat the New England Patriots. Don't be so sure that Tua doesn't go out and have a 3-touchdown game, because that's typical Tua. That's why Tua has lasted here for so long. Is because he does have these games where he puts up the stinker, right? The terrible football game. He puts up the terrible football game, and then he comes back the next week and has a great football game. But that's a way to know if this team is in much trouble as I think they are. Because if we go into next week and New England blows our doors off at home in a game that we should win, if New England beats us the way the Indy beat us, you're going to know that the problems are real. And that's why I think Mike McDaniel could be fired after next week. See, it's not just Tua. And that's not me sticking up for Tua. It's not just Tua. Mike McDaniel is just as much the problem as Tua is. Anthony Weaver this week was just the same amount of problem as Tua was. We could not stop Daniel Jones. Where was the pressure? Where was the exotic blitz packages? Where was that? Again, Mike McDaniel, Tua Tagovailoa, They come out and have a great week at home this week. They go out because we have talent. We have talent. There's talent on this football team. There's talent on this football team that they're good enough to go out and have big performances. And there's enough talent on this football team that they'll give those diehard fans fake hope. They'll give them the fake hope possibly. There's enough talent that the Miami Dolphins go and beat New England 40-17, and everybody will be like, "Oh, it was just a bad game. It was just a bad game. We're back on track. Here we go into Buffalo." No. I'm past that point. I'm past that. You're not gonna continue to fool me. I refuse to let this franchise continue to fool me. See, I tried to be positive. I just tried to, and I can't do it no more. I can't do it no more. I can't be fake. I can't do this no more. And Crazy Dolphin, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying there is so much, there's so many things wrong with this franchise. So let's take a look at the injuries that we have to deal with now. James Daniels out weeks. Storm Duck out weeks. Man, oh man. As soon as James Daniels went out, what was the third play of the game? Keon Smith coming in. That is a disaster. That's a disaster. Keon Smith is terrible. Austin Jackson, we don't know what's up with his toe. Of course, he's hurt. He's hurt more than Tua is. He's hurt more than Tua is. So what's that look? What's that leave our right side of the line looking like? Either Larry Borum and Keon Smith, or Keon Smith and Kendall Lamb, or Larry Borum and Kendall Lamb. We're in trouble on that side of the line. Daniel Brunskill. We're in trouble on that side of the line. We're in absolute trouble. I don't. There's no fixing. There's no fixing that problem. We missed the boat on that. We missed the boat on that. We missed the boat because we brought in one guard coming off major injury and drafted one rookie, and that was fixing the offensive line, even though there was multiple holes on this offensive line. Crazy Dolphin, because probably the people that are in charge of keeping these guys healthy, they're sports nutritionist guys, they're the guys in control of rehab, probably because they're bottom of the barrel guys too. You know what I mean? They're probably trash ass coaching, medical personnel also, because that's what this franchise gives us. Now you got the league talking about this team. We're the laughing stock around the NFL. You got everyone talking about the Miami Dolphins for all the wrong reasons. We're soft. We're soft. Mike McDaniel's lost his team. Mike McDaniel needs to be replaced. And they shoot out a bunch of different names. Let's take a look at some of the names that they're shooting out there for the Miami Dolphins for coaches to replace Mike McDaniel. Jason Garrett. I don't want no Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett. Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick. Now, Bill Belichick's got a lot of rings. He's got a lot of rings. But how many of those are Tom Brady? Was it Tom Brady leeching off Bill Belichick, or was it Bill Belichick leeching off Tom Brady? Which was it? And Michael K., I clearly said Buffalo was winning this division. So, I mean, you can act like I said something different than what I did, but I clearly said that Buffalo is winning this division. John Gruden. John Gruden's another name out there. But when's the last time that John Gruden had success in this league? He had his little stint with the Raiders that, he ended up getting fired for some emails, blah, blah, blah. He has a Super Bowl title, but that was 20 years ago. I said if a magnitude of things went right for the Miami Dolphins, there'd be a chance. Yeah. I'm a fan of the Miami Dolphins. I am. Mike McCarthy. That's another name, Mike McCarthy. Nick Saban. Nick Saban. People are talking about Nick Saban. Is it extreme for me to say that the injuries? What's that say? Anthony says, Big C, is it extreme for me to say that the Dolphins are going to go 1-16 this season? I think that's jumping out the window, Anthony. There's too much talent. There's too much talent for a 1-16 team. That's my personal belief. Gruden has a Super Bowl, and when he didn't really build that Super Bowl team neither, did he? Big O said anyone who didn't agree with the decision making of our GM was a racist. Whoa. Yeah, it faults me to say, but I see with the current way they played, probably 3-4 wins, 5 wins. Give Michael K his credit, Miller his credit, I guess. But there's too much talent for a 1-win team. Again, Michael K, the casual fan, thinks that the power rankings of a team deciphers how much talent there is overall on a football team. You can have a bunch of talented players on a football team and still be bad. You know where we missed the boat as far as head coaches go? We missed the boat. We missed out. The problem with this franchise is this. We missed out on a coach that could have been phenomenal for the Miami Dolphins. Again, there can be talented people on a football team and still have major holes. If you don't have a quarterback, it doesn't matter if you had 1 million people with talent on this football team. If you don't have any corners, you can have the best defense. You can have the best upfront defensive players, the best quarterback, and still be a mess. We missed out on the head coach that could have turned this football team around. And that head coach is Jim Harbaugh. We absolutely dropped the ball on Jim Harbaugh multiple times. We missed out on Jim Harbaugh and ended up hiring Mike McDaniel. And then when Jim Harbaugh became available, I don't care what they felt like they had with Mike McDaniel. You should have moved on and you should have went and got Jim Harbaugh. If we finish last in the league and get the first pick, who do you want? It's too early, K-Salt. It's too early. The whole college season's got to play out, bro. Darren Waller was in shape. He wasn't necessarily in football shape, but the guy came in with abs popping out everywhere, big bulging muscles. I don't know if top 12, top 10 is the best offensive line in football, Michael K. Again, you can put things in my mouth all you want. Jim Harbaugh was the answer at coach. He was the one to come in and fix his football team. I truly believe that. If John Gruden gets brought in, yeah, I think he doesn't come unless he has full control. Waller is hurt. And I agree, Cliff. They need to make changes immediately. Immediately. Make sure you hit that like button for me, please. How many likes we got right now? If you could hit that like button for me, help me out. It'd be greatly appreciated. Jim Harbaugh was the answer. Look what he's done everywhere. Whether it's Stanford, San Francisco, Michigan, and now what he's doing over with the Chargers. CC, that's cool. Jim Harbaugh's a coach that you let him pick his quarterback. They should have never gave Tua the contract extension. I was so against that. That was a huge mistake, giving Tua the contract extension. If Tua wanted a contract extension, they should have made Tua bow down to what they wanted to give him. Tua should have never got a contract that was over $30 million. Never. Because he's not a better quarterback than that. Let's focus on the future. You know what the best thing that could possibly happen for the Miami Dolphins is? You know what the best possible thing that could possibly happen for the Miami Dolphins is? Let's say Baltimore struggles to a point this year. Let's say Baltimore doesn't live up to their expectations this year. John Harbaugh has had a strained relationship with Baltimore's front office ever since their longtime general manager left. If things don't go the way that Baltimore sees them going, if they struggle a little bit, let's say they don't win the division. Let's say that Pittsburgh and Cincinnati somehow finishes above Baltimore this year. Would you trade a pick? Would you trade picks for John Harbaugh? Because I would. We might not be able to get Jim, but if somehow we got lucky. So is Jim Harbaugh a mediocre coach? Or is Stanford not known for getting the most elite talent in college football? So who's casual? Michael K just said that Jim Harbaugh at Stanford was 29-21. That's he's mediocre, blah, 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 blah. Then he went to San Francisco and led a team to a Super Bowl. Then he went to Michigan and led a team to a national championship. Now he's with the Chargers and already has them as a playoff team. But I'm the casual one, right? Let me see your last two comments, Anthony. They go fast. I can't keep up with all of them. Instead of getting John, how about his brother Jay? I mean, it depends who else is available, I guess, right? I wouldn't absolutely say no on that. And yeah, I don't think John Gruden comes here unless he is in full control of this franchise, where he gets to pick his own general manager, where he gets to pick everything. So we can't draft a quarterback, but a coach. Again, you can have the best quarterback, but if you have a trash ass coach, I mean, it starts at the top. This team isn't going to be able to compete after next year. Who do you got coming in coaching? A reason to cite. I mean, I just speak from the heart. You know what I mean? Flores, there's no way Flores is coming back here. Brian Flores, is that what you're saying? I don't got all the answers. I'm a fan. I'm a fan like you guys. Don Shula's son. I mean, I think the coaches absolutely do. I think the coaches absolutely set the, you know what I mean? It's obviously a combination, in my opinion. I don't get the paid. I don't get paid the big dollars to make this decision. You know what I mean? I'm not in the locker room with these guys, nor is anybody else. I know Jim Harbaugh has been successful. I know John Harbaugh has had success. I know I've seen good quarterbacks with bad coaching, and they don't win Super Bowls neither. Now, yeah, we could not trade for a coach and use all our draft capital to get if there's a quarterback out there worth going to get for all that draft capital, sure. Sure. I don't know what the draft's going to look like by the end of the college year. You know what I mean? Is there going to be a quarterback available, or is it going to be another year like this year where you got Cam Ward and who else? Which I don't even think Cam Ward is worth a top 5 pick. And maybe John Gruden is the answer. You know what I mean? Like at this point, I don't think it could be worse. Dart is the best quarterback from last draft. Ward is a bust. I mean, I don't know if you can call Ward a bust after 1 week of football, but I wouldn't be surprised if Jackson Dart is the best quarterback in this draft. But CCRR, if you could have a choice of Cam Ward, Jackson Dart, or John Harbaugh as your coach, you're not taking John Harbaugh as your coach over them 2 players? And you take Jackson Dart, and we'll see. We'll see. Jackson Dart name. I think you could be right. I think you could be right that Jackson Dart could be the best quarterback in this draft. But you can't call Ward. You can't call Ward a bust already. Give the guy an opportunity. It's not fair to judge him after 1 week. I mean, that's your opinion. That's your opinion. We'll see how it plays out. I don't got a crystal ball over here. I know Tua's a bust. That's what I know. I know Tua's a bust at this point. If you're in your 6th year and you can't stop the performances on a consistent basis that you're having. Big C, people who say that Jim Harbaugh's tenure at Stanford was mediocre don't look at the content. He can't get the same talent state of California that's public schools like UCLA, or USC can. Listen, no one's going to tell me that Jim, you know what I mean? Jim Harbaugh has showed me that he's an elite coach. Ward doesn't have any pet weapons. Ridley was driving passes. See, it's very easy for everybody to try to mark down exactly what I say, but you know what I mean? And that's cool. That's cool. I guess I put myself in this position. But again, I repeat, I am not a professional sports analyst. I am a Dolphins fan. I'm a Miami Dolphins fan who gets on here and speaks how I feel about this football team. So again, if you're looking for expert analysis, go turn on ESPN. And even then, you're going to struggle to find it. I just love this football team, and I call it how I see it, and I talk about the things that I feel are wrong. And I give others the opportunity to voice their opinion too. Anybody that would like to come up here and voice their opinion on this football team is more than welcome. I mean, you can't say that he didn't make a difference at Stanford. How bad would they have been if he wasn't at Stanford? You know what I mean? All I know is if we go through and we'll break down the Miami Dolphins versus the New England Patriots this week. But I know if we throw up another performance like we did this week, I wholeheartedly hope that changes are immediately happen. And good for you, CCRR. I don't listen. I'm not sitting there calling you out or trying to say that you got. I'm just saying that I think it's too early to say Cam Ward's a bust. I'm sure you've gotten stuff right. I'm not debating what your record is. I don't know. I don't write it all down, brother. I'm saying Jim Harbaugh is a coach I would like to have. Michael K, whatever way you're trying to spin what I'm saying, Jim Harbaugh is a coach that I think is a good coach, and I would like to have Jim Harbaugh, and he's got a good success record. If you think that Jim Harbaugh isn't a good coach, that's you. And I will not continue to address you if you keep with the casual. See, that's like me calling you out your name constantly. You know what I mean? If you need to resort to name calling, that's pretty childish in my opinion. Big C, do you think Mike McDaniel will change anything this week against New England? Has he changed anything in the last? Has he changed anything in the past? Has Jim Harbaugh or has Mike McDaniel made any real adjustments in the past? So I don't. I wouldn't hold my breath. I know we're not getting Harbaugh. I know that. I absolutely know that. I said we missed the bus on him, right? I said that's where we missed the bus. With Carson Beck, if the Dolphins draft him, would you be okay with that? You continue to like. Yeah, I'm not huge on Carson Beck. Okay, you might be right. You might be right that the Dolphins are winning under 6.5 games this year. Michael K, you might be right. But I bet you I'm right that the Buffalo Bills are not winning a Super Bowl this year, too. So we'll see if we're both right. Harbaugh has the Chargers on the verge of being a playoff bound and one tough team, unlike our Dolphins. Go get a black coach. The guy is too arrogant. He has too smart the man in the room. He's going Kyle Shanahan, where he felt like he was right and didn't want to improve. He is a Shanahan disciple. Harder to win a Super Bowl than it is 7 games. That's true. That's true. Must be true because Buffalo's never won a Super Bowl. So you're probably right about that. Big C, if I win the tat bet, you should get a F Buffalo tat. First and foremost, I didn't bet that I was getting a tattoo. Never did that. Never did that happen. But I wouldn't be totally against that. Mike McDaniel's a black coach. Edward, that's a stretch. That's a stretch. That's a stretch. I don't know if there's any, maybe some DNA in Mike McDaniel's black, but there's nothing else about Mike McDaniel that's black, I'd say. Flores was great. Tua was just too soft for real coaching. Hey, we don't know how the Flores thing would have turned out. Miller, don't put me in the same aspect as P. You show me where I said that I was getting a tattoo. You show me where I said I was getting a tattoo. If you show me that, I swear to God, I'll get it. And I'm not even saying I'm not against it. I'm not even saying I'm against it. McDaniel gets a loaded roster and does worth. I'm not debating whether, Flores. Sure, I'll give you Flores was the better coach. Pete was right about Tua. That's not what we're talking about, Kat. You're the one that threw it out there, Miller, not me. We would have gone to the AFC chip already. If what? If Flores was still the coach? McDandy short circuits during the game time. Yeah, I seen it. I was calling him nerd boy. I mean, that's hard to say, Miss Fins. It's hard to say. You can't, you can't sit there and say that. You can't predict what a team woulda, coulda, did, shoulda, did with another head coach. Yeah, I don't know about a dolphin eating a bison or anything like that, but a F Buffalo tattoo wouldn't be bad. Big C, to take your mind off the disappointment that the Dolphins, I have a question for you. Are you one of the people that believes UFOs and aliens exist? Oh, Anthony, I'm not a huge believer in stuff like that, but the universe is a big place. Who knows? I think we can kind of accept Tua is overrated. He's definitely not worth $50-60 million a year. 100%. Top 10 win percentage in his last 2 years. Again, you can't guarantee what a coach coulda, shoulda, woulda did. Big C and Pete are mostly different, but our Dolphins podcast hosts. Yeah, I don't think that me and Pete are on the same page as I don't think that we believe the same things. When did I ever say that? You show me where I wanted to pay Tua. You show me where I said I wanted to pay Tua. God, I mean, people putting stuff in my mouth all the time. No homo. Excuse me. Pause. Never once did I was totally against giving Tua the deal. He should have played on that 5th-year option. I was 100% against that. The only way I felt like he should have got, if they were going to give him money, it should have been under $30 million a year. Never would I. Never. He didn't show nothing. He didn't prove he could stay healthy. His stats weren't good enough. I'm so against giving. And CC, listen, maybe 30 is a lot for him, but there's no way I was giving him $50-60 million. There's no way I was paying him top 5 money. Never, never, ever, ever. We should have fired everybody at the end of last season. If you know what I mean, we should have fired everybody at the end of last season, or we should have went all in this year. And even going all in this year, I don't know if it would have made a difference because Mike McDaniel has clearly lost this franchise. Do you believe those concussions F this man's game up? Maybe to a point. I just don't think he's that talented. Maybe, Anthony, maybe. I know if it wasn't for Chris Greer, we would have had Lamar Jackson in the building. It's not that he can't run the quarterback sneak. It's that it can expose him to unnecessary injury. Yeah, I've said it on one, maybe when I was talking to TD, that he can't run this. I think it was TD, CB83, and Miss Fins on the AFC East roundtable, Dolphins roundtable, that he can't run the sneak because he could die. It could kill him. If Tua offered to play for free, I would have said, nah, we good, homie. I mean, yeah, changes need to be made, though. Changes need to be made. And don't be surprised. Like I said, don't be surprised if Tua comes out and has a 3-touchdown, 250-plus yard performance this week, because that's what Tua does. But if Tua doesn't do that, that's when you know that the problems are not even, you can't even put a Band-Aid on it. That changes need to happen this week. That Mike McDaniel needs to be replaced this week. If the Miami Dolphins come out and play like they did against the Indianapolis Colts at home against the New England Patriots, Monday morning changes need to be made. Monday morning. Or you'll see classic McDaniel Tua where they put a Band-Aid on it and it stretches things out. But at the end of the day, things need to change, and it needs to happen sooner rather than later. Things need to change, and it needs to happen sooner rather than later. But yeah, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe, notifications, do all those things. Again, I'm not a professional analyst. I am a Dolphins fan who loves this team and just wants to see it succeed. I want to see it succeed. Oh, Weaver was the problem this week too. It wasn't just Tua. It wasn't just Tua. But yeah, check out me and Miss Fins later on today, if she's still available, for our show tonight on her channel, DMZ, 8 p.m., I believe. But yeah, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button. Please, 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 please. It helps me so much. It helps me so much. The love for Tua is insane. Listen, I'm not loving on Tua. Believe that. Believe that. But I appreciate you all, and I'll see y'all later. And fins up. Fins up. Peace.
Yo. Big C in the house. You know the name. Fin Posse Podcast. Changing the game. Fins up high. Feel the aqua and orange. Miami heat blazing. We scorching the floor. We know the tour. We stacking the saga. Legacy deep. Call it football nirvana. Big C, break it down. Got the stats in his veins. Play by play knowledge like he's calling the chains. Fins flying on the field. Opponents feel the blast. Tyreek cheetah speed. Leaving DBs in the past. Waddle with the wiggle. Defense with the clamp. Aqua drip so clean. Whole squash the champ. Tune in. Big C. Got the mic on lock. Fin Posse Podcast. It's the cream of the crop. Breaking news. Hot takes. Repping the block. For the Dolphin faithful. It's the one-stop shop. Fin Posse. We the voice of the fans. Miami stand tall, got the world in our hands. Best podcast, yo, ain't no debate. Big C, big vibes, setting it straight. Defense smash, call it aqua tsunami. X locking routes like a South Beach Armani. O-line holding strong, trenches like a fortress. Big C dissected, no stack goes dormant.